Gentle, moderate Vinyasa with Wendy. It is Sunday, May 31st, and thanks for joining me. And I invite you, as we start to arrive, to find a nice comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. Let it be comfortable and let it be a place where you can stay for the next few minutes. Dropping into the sits bones, lengthening up through the crown. As you're settling in, start to just notice the breath. And begin to find a little movement in the body as I tell you about this class. So I'm just rounding, exhaling as I round, inhaling, opening the heart just a little bit, rounding and opening, and then finding a little bit of side movement as well. And so for class today, I will do some warm-ups, and then we will do, I'll do some teaching about the 5 Tibetan rites. And so as you continue to warm up, I'll just give you a little overview about what I'm talking about. The 5 Tibetan rites are something you can look up, you can easily Google, and you will find lots of information. But the short story is that a gentleman in the early 1900s was hiking in Tibet and came across a monastery where all these monks looked super fit and healthy, and he found out that they were much older than they looked. And he started doing some investigating and learned that they were doing a series of movements, all of which are definitely connected to yoga. But they were doing a series of movements every day, 21 times for each of the 5 movements. And those, and they really attributed their healthy success to these movements. Having been to the Himalayas, I would say that it has a lot to do with lots of other things, like maybe even just being a monk. But the movements are terrific in that they address all of the chakras. And the chakras are our energy centers. First chakra comes up to the hip crease. That's your first chakra. It's how you ground yourself. I'll just go into brief descriptions of the second chakra. Is right here. It is your place of creativity, sensuality, just fluidity. Third chakra is at your solar plexus, and this is your power place. Fourth chakra is the heart. So love, grief, the big emotions sit right here. The fifth chakra is your throat, so your voice, how you express yourself in the world. The sixth chakra is right here, and it is certainly a place of intellect, but it is also it's kind of your wider view of the world. And then the seventh chakra is right up here, and it's really how you connect with the universe. Super simple overview, but that is probably enough for this day. So we'll get started, and we'll start in our usual fashion by warming up and doing some breath work, and then making our way to the 5 Tibetan rites. So if you have been sitting this whole time with your knees crossed, let's cross them in the other direction, with your legs crossed rather. Cross your legs in the other direction. And letting those sits bones drop into the earth. Let's inhale up. And exhale, dropping the hands to the ground. We'll inhale up. And exhale. 2 more here. Inhaling, exhaling, and dropping the gaze. And this time, from here, let's drop over into the left hand, lengthen out through the right arm and fingertips, really finding space, breathing into the right side body. And then we inhale up and drop over. Lengthening, reaching, breathing. Next breath, once again dropping over into the left side. And inhale, and we arrive. Inhaling up, let's lift this left leg, taking the right arm around the outside, and this left arm opens the door, comes behind you to prop you up as you sit tall, and exhale, leading with the belly. We're exhaling over to the left side, dropping the left arm down the back body. Letting the breath lift you up through the crown, and the exhale take you deeper into the twist. Inhaling back to center. We'll lift the right knee, hug it in. Open this door, supporting yourself with the right hand. We sit tall. And exhale the belly over to the right. Coming back to center. Once again, really landing in your seated position here. Let's begin to move into a centered breathing. And so I invite you to bring a hand to the belly, a hand to the heart. And just begin to breathe, starting to notice your ordinary breath. Perhaps notice your heartbeat. And we'll move from here into a very directed 3-part breath. This breath where you fill the belly, fill the lower lungs, and fill the upper lungs. Hold it for just a touch, and then exhale, releasing everything, dropping the breath from the shoulders all the way down through the lungs, through the belly, and drop that breath right into the earth. So filling and dropping. If you're comfortable closing your eyes or softening your gaze, I invite you to do that. Keep the breath going, filling the entire core, holding it for a second, and then releasing everything. And as you continue with this breath, take the next 3 or 4 breaths to exhale anything you'd like to get rid of today. What can you release with the breath? And with your next 3 or 4 inhalations, Imagine what you'd like to fill your body and spirit with. Filling them with the inhalation. And coming back to ordinary breathing, keeping the eyes closed or the gaze softened. We'll inhale the arms up overhead. Palms come together and drop down in front of your heart. And take a moment here in Anjali Mudra to think about the intentions you've set, that you will set. Think about intentions. Think about perhaps something you're grateful for today. And with a hand on your heart and the other hand on top, I'd like to seal those intentions with this poem by Dana Folds. What's true here is delight. What's true is the flight of a soul testing her wings and finding them airworthy. What's true are all the many challenges of life, from pain and resistance to anxiety and self-judgment, all arrayed like laundry on the line, so I can decide which ones to fold and which get relegated to the rag pile. What's true here is a glorious day blown in on storm winds. What's true is the choice to be awake, alive, and joyous in the face of whatever this day brings. What's true is giving thanks and taking none of this for granted. And taking one more breath here, watching that breath fill the body and then drop into the earth. We'll gently open the eyes as we interlace the fingers, reach forward. I always yawn here. And I always give you the yawn. And we'll take a little bit of just some figure eights up here. And reaching up, we'll exhale, bring hands to the shoulders and begin to explore some shoulder movement here. Perhaps slowing it down enough so that your breath supports the arm as it lifts. We'll change direction. And eventually, let's bring both elbows together, curling yourself in here, rounding the back body. Inhale, open your wings wide, heart opens. And we exhale, bring hands together now in front. Inhale, open these arms wide. We'll exhale, round in. Inhale and open. And from here, we'll bring a hand to the crown. And the other hand can either be heavy on the side of the body or come behind your body. Sit nice and tall here. Drop the head over, releasing the jaw, the brow. A little bit of back and forth movement here. And then we inhale back up to center, switching hands around. Again, the other arm can be heavy or land behind the back body. We'll sit tall, drop over into the bent elbow. Just a little bit of back and forth here. Releasing the jaw. back to center. If you're sitting on something, you can remove that. And let's shake the legs out, straightening them out, bring a little bit of life back into the knees. Excuse me. And from here, let's come on up to standing. So come to the front of your mat, please. And so we're moving toward mountain pose, but we're not quite there yet. Let's take a little more time, bringing some movement into the shoulders. And then some nice backstroke. Finding a little bit of twist, turning to the side as you lift and drop. And from here, hands come to the hips, and we'll just find some hip circles. So circling in one direction. Your stance is just solid and supportive here. We'll change direction. Bring a little movement into the second chakra. Coming back to center and landing. And now we begin to explore as we start to just land in your mountain pose or Tadasana. Dropping into both feet. Feet are right under the hips. Shoulders are right over the hips. Palms gently open forward as the crown lifts. And we tuck the chin just a little bit here. Not a lot, but just a little. Once you've arrived here, where can you soften? What can you let go of? Take a nice breath, and with that exhale, letting go of whatever you don't need to hold on to right now. And with your next breath, let's inhale up. Hands find each other, and we drop over into a half moon. Dropping into both feet solidly here. And then inhaling up. We'll drop over into the other half moon. Breathing into that long side body. Inhaling back to center. And with your next breath, let's exhale. Come on down. Hands come to the floor or to blocks or books or a blanket. And let's take just a few breaths here, bringing a little movement into the knees. So again, great place to use a block. We're just finding a little movement, starting to release the head, the shoulders, the jaw, really dropping in. And coming to stillness, we'll inhale, hands to the knees. Knees are a little bit bent here. As you look forward, shoulders drop down the back body. We exhale back down. With the next breath, drop into this forward fold or Uttanasana. And once again, we'll inhale, hands up to the knees, lengthening through the back body. Shoulders drop down the back. Breathing through the front body here before we drop in. And from here, hands come on either side of your feet, and we'll just walk our feet back, coming to what might be your first downward dog of the day or the week. And we keep that movement going with the legs. So it's all warm up here as we bend one knee and then the other. Find a little movement in the hips. Hands want to be a little wider than your shoulders. Index fingers are pointing forward. And then start to shift up onto your toes, shifting forward and exhaling, dropping the weight into the heels. So we're shifting forward and back.
next time you land in your child pose, we'll stop here. Bring those knees to the floor and come right down into a child pose. So, forehead comes to the floor, arms are extended. Really land here, breathing into the back body. Perhaps widening the knees a little bit, giving yourself a little more room to breathe. We'll walk the hands over to the side. The opposite hand lands on top as we stretch through this side body. And walking the hands in the other direction. Big stretch here. Coming back to center, let's bring the hands together and just start to bring a little bit of rocking movement here. So we're bringing a shoulder up and a shoulder up. And from here, excuse me, I invite you to walk forward onto your mat, bringing the belly to the floor. Hands are reaching out, elbows are right underneath the shoulders. You may not be able to see my elbows fully here, but fingertips are reaching as we land in this Sphinx pose. Take a nice breath here, letting the shoulders drop down the back body. And breathing into this gentle back bend. Taking a nice breath and landing. Hands support you back to your downward dog. And from here we'll walk forward. Arriving and standing forward bend. We'll inhale, hands up to the knees, lengthen through the back body. Exhale, back down. Inhale and sweep all the way up. Hands find each other and come to the heart. Great. Let's continue to warm up by doing a heart vinyasa. So starting at the front of your mat again. We'll land in mountain pose, dropping into both feet, finding that place of equilibrium. Not too much this side, not too much this side, but right in the center, maybe a little checking forward and back. Shoulders drop down the back. And with your next breath, we inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands behind the back. Inhale, lift through the heart. Exhale, knees bend, head drops, hands lift. Really reaching out here, reaching up here rather. With your next breath, arms sweep forward as you find a chair pose. Take a breath as hands come to the heart and we come into our twist. Dropping into both feet evenly here. One more breath. And with the next breath, arms reach forward and we exhale into a twist. Inhale forward. Exhale all the way to the floor, straightening those legs, head drops. Softening the knees slightly, we inhale, hands to the knees, drop those shoulders down the back body, exhale back down, and then inhale and sweep up. Hands come to the heart. And from here, let's do one more. I'm going to do a side, do it from the side this time, so you get a little different view. We're beginning at the top of the mat, dropping into Tadasana. Dropping those shoulders down the back body, tucking the tailbone just a little bit. Inhale up. Exhale, hands behind the back. Inhale, lift through the heart. Exhale, hands lift, head drops. We're dropping into both feet evenly here. Inhale, sweep the arms forward, coming to chair pose. Tucking the tailbone just a little bit here. Lengthening out through fingertips, out through the tailbone, dropping into both feet. And we'll come into a little twist, taking the left hand to the floor, lift up through the right. Breathing here. Inhale, sweep the arms forward again, dropping into your Utkatasana. And then exhaling as the right hand lands, left arm lifts. We sweep forward again. Exhale, hands to the floor as those legs straighten, head drops. And from here, let's bring those hands on either side of your feet. And we'll step back with the right leg. Coming to a lunge, a great place to use blocks if you've got them. And we just bring a little bit of movement here. Shifting forward with the breath, exhaling back. The back knee can always be on the floor if that feels more comfortable. But think about the breath no matter where you are. How can the breath help you here? And the next time you shift forward, we'll move the blocks out of the way. If your back knee is in the air, let's bring it to the floor. And we'll take the left hand to the inside and scoot yourself right down into a dragon or a lizard pose. And so this posture is a lovely place to use a block if your legs and hips doth protest. So taking a block here, taking a block on a taller side, taking 2 blocks, make sure you pay attention to what your body is needing. And if you'd like to fire this up just a little bit, you can tuck the back toes, the right toes, lengthen out through that heel, lift through the knee, and breathe as the knee lifts, and you really find a new stretch here. We'll take 2 more breaths. And knee comes to the floor. Let's walk our way up. And what we'll be doing is tucking those back toes again, pivoting. And your choice here, you can simply just shift your weight over to the other knee, or you can stop here for a breath. Maybe stop here for a balance. And then we support ourselves right over to the other side. So we're dropping into the other side. I'm now on my right foot. And again, if this doesn't work for your knees, just come on over. We'll be coming to lunge on this side. So hands come into a prayer position if this works for you. Finding a little balance, or maybe a half prayer position if balance is evading you at the moment. Take a breath. And hands support you right into lunge position. So here we are again, finding some space. Shifting forward with the breath. Exhaling and bowing. Remembering that back knee, of course, can be on the floor whenever makes sense for you. And And the next time you come forward, if your knee is in the air, let's bring it to the floor. Bring this right hand to the inside and make your way down into dragon or lizard. Breathing into this true hip stretch here. And if you'd like to take it another level, we'll tuck the back left toes. Lengthen out through the heel so the energy is reaching out through the heel as that quad lifts and lengthens and strengthens. Dropping into the front big toe mound. We'll take 2 more breaths. And that knee lands if it was in the air. Let's walk our way up and turn to the side. Again, shifting onto that knee if that works for you. Otherwise, we'll just shift to center, straighten both legs. And this is a great place to have a block if you have one. Feet are turned out at a 45-degree angle, and just bring a little bit of gentle side-to-side movement here. We're working into all corners of the legs. Lifting the toes brings yet another stretch in. And when you land in the center the next time, we'll bring the feet to parallel, lengthening out through the crown, dropping into the feet, lifting through the pelvic floor. And then both hands really come to the block, work next to each other on the floor. We'll leave the left hand on the block, inhale up with the right. And let's take 3 breaths here. So we inhale and exhale and sweep in front of the other hand. Inhale up, sweep, and 1 more. And that hand lands. And with your next breath, we inhale up with the left hand. And 3rd breath. And that hand comes down from here. Walk your feet in. Inhale, hands to the knees, dropping those shoulders down the back body. We exhale back down. And then softening the knees. Inhale, make your way up. Big breath here. Hands come to each other and find the heart. And so from here, let me introduce the 5 Tibetan rites. What we'll do is I will do a quick demonstration, and I invite you to join me for this starter demonstration. We'll do 5 of each movement, do it slowly, and then I'm hoping we'll have time to do another 5 of each. And I will show you the routine that I use, and I do some stretches in between that just help my body make it more comfortable. This is a series that is really helpful to start doing at a low number. So starting maybe doing it 3 or 5 times each posture, each movement, and then working your way up to 21 times for each movement. So I'll talk about that a little bit more as we get into it. And remember, everything is about really connecting, kind of rebalancing the chakras. And so the first movement is simply spinning clockwise. And since I know that I am mirroring you, just be aware that it will look like I'm spinning counterclockwise, but I really am spinning clockwise. And so we begin by lengthening out through fingertips, out through your arms. And what I found that helps me with this is that I spin in clockwise, and then occasionally I'll throw in a counterclockwise spin. The theory is that chakras actually spin clockwise, but sometimes it's hard to not be dizzy. So beginning by finding a focal point, we'll do 5 just gentle spins together. I let my gaze come right back to the same point. So I've done 5. That was Tibetan Rite number 1. Number 2. Coming to your back. Let's bring the hands underneath your hips. Palms are down, legs are straight here. We roll the shoulders underneath, and we'll take 5 leg lifts here. And the usual Tibetan Rite, the way it's done, is that the head lifts as well. You need to decide for you if that works for your neck. It's an exhalation. Exhale, everything lifts. If it works to simply lift the legs and leave your head on the floor, pay attention to what makes sense for your body. That was rite number 2. Number 3, do it from the side. You come to the knees, and if coming to the knees is hard for your body, you can do this standing. So we're dropping into both knees, we're dropping shoulders down the back body, hands are just next to the body, but you want to keep them on your hips. So we'll inhale, heart and hips open, come back. Inhale and exhale. And that's number 3. Number 4. Number 4 is coming to table pose, tabletop. And the way this looks is hands, fingertips are pointing towards your feet, hands are on the floor. You're in a seated position. And from here, with an inhalation, we drop the feet, lift the hips, coming to a flat tabletop, looking at the ceiling. Exhale, hips to the floor. Now if your arms are short, blocks will be super helpful here. And so you inhale and lift, exhale and land. I'm going to bring the box back. And I am actually going to use my fists. I have a wrist injury on my right hand, so, and also you may find that using fists is really helpful here. So hands or fists land, we inhale and lift, exhale. One more. I don't know if we've done 4 or 5, but let's try this last one. Inhaling, lengthening, and land. So that's number 4. And we'll come to number 5. Number 5 is my favorite. In this one, we tuck toes, come to downward dog. We're dropping into both heels here, really finding the posture. And from here, shifting forward to plank, and so you may need to adjust your position. You're shifting to plank, letting the hips drop. The toes stay on the mat, so we're not shifting to upward dog. We're letting the hips drop. The heels are reaching up to the sky here. And then we exhale. So it's inhale and exhale. Let's try one more. And that, my friends, is it. So let's talk about that. Let's take just a little take a breath here, maybe get a drink. Let's talk about the chakras that we connected with. So the first one, the spinning, is all of the chakras. Number 2, the leg lifts. We are connecting with the root chakra, the second chakra, and really that third chakra, your personal power center. Number 3, we're opening the hips forward, this middle section, so your solar plexus and the heart is opening, and your 5th chakra is opening. This really getting all of the upper chakras here, 5th, 6th, 7, opening with the breath. Breath is important. There's number 3. Number 4, and I hope you're taking a break right now while I'm talking about this. This, number 4, is rooting you down into the floor with that 1st chakra. 2nd chakra is lifted. 3rd chakra is opening. 4th chakra is opening your voice. The 5th chakra is opening. We're really getting, this is a full-bodied situation here. And then this final one, I think this one, it's about grounding and then shifting forward and opening up. So it feels like it really hits all of the chakras there. So if you've had a little bit of a break, let's do this all again. We'll do the routine that I do when I'm doing the 5 Tibetan rites, and I try to do them daily, 5 times a week probably. And so what I do is I add a few stretches in between that help my body feel more comfortable. So we'll begin with 5 spins. Actually, let's do 6 of everything. So I'll show you that when I do, what I often do is I do 5 spins clockwise, and then I do the 6th counterclockwise. And then 7, 8, 9 clockwise, 10 counterclockwise, and I kind of go from there. So let's do 6. So we're starting here, dropping into both feet. Find a focal point. I'm going to make the pace is going to be a little quicker. Holding my focal point. I did 5, and now I'm doing 6, and landing. And then coming down onto your back. So from here, hands come under the hips. Again, we'll do 6. So we'll exhale. And inhale as the feet lift. And again, your head can either come up or you can keep the head on the floor. Your choice here. Last one. And the knees bend. Bring yourself into a hug here and a little bit of gentle rocking. We'll drop the knees over to one side, arms open wide, let your gaze go to the opposite side of the knees. Breathing into this twist. Breathing into the 3rd chakra. Inhale, knees up and over to the other side as you find the other twist. The 2nd Tibetan rite. Number 3. We're landing on the knees or standing. Make the decision for yourself here. And dropping into both feet or knees, we inhale, open the heart and hips, the throat, the crown, and back. Inhale and back. Last one. And from here I come down and right into a child pose. Taking the knees as wide as makes sense, really dropping in, allowing the back body to be long. Let's walk the hands over to the side, lengthen through the side body, and then walk your hands to the other side. Big stretch here, and then we come on up. Coming back up to the knees. And a little bit of a sun breath here, reaching up to the heavens, hands come back to the heart. And from here we'll come to our tabletop. So that was number 3. And again, grab your blocks if you need them. Hands come to the floor, right next to your, really kind of right in front of the hips. With shoulders drop down the back body. Take a breath. Dropping into your sits bones, and then begin by landing the feet, opening up. Exhale back to a seated position. We inhale and lift. Exhale. I think this is number 5. We'll do one more. And landing. And from here, take the right leg over the left. Engage that left foot. Sit tall. Exhale into this twist. Really letting the body lead the way here. Nice breath over here. And then inhaling back to center, come to the other twist. And then we just switch legs. So the right foot is engaged, left leg comes over top, sit tall. Exhale into this twist over to the left. And then inhale into the more open twist. Sitting tall, dropping into both sits bones. And we come back to center. Sweeping those legs around, we'll come right to preparation for downward dog. Hands land a little wider than your shoulders, toes tuck, tailbone in the air as the heels land. And reminder here, we're dropping into downward dog, shifting to plank. So the first one you may need to do a little adjustment. Those hips drop. And the wider your feet are, the more stable you are. So consider widening your feet just a little. We inhale as the hips drop, shoulders drop down the back body. Exhale and come back. This can also be done on your fists if your wrists are feeling it. I don't know how many I've done, so let's do one more for good measure. Dropping into this downward dog. And from here, let's lift the left leg. Really dropping into your standing right foot, and start to open that left hip and close it. And we open and close. That foot lands. Right leg lifts, lengthening up to the sky, and then begin to open and close this hip. This foot lands. We'll walk forward, coming right to standing forward bend, releasing the head, the jaw, your kneecaps, the shoulders. Uncurl yourself from here. Just unfurling the body, lift and lengthen all the way up. Bringing the hands to the heart. Nice work. You've just done 11 Tibetan rites. So beautiful work. Come on down to the floor. And let's come back to the back again. Settling onto your back, bringing the knees in for a hug. And while you're settling, I'll talk a little bit more, actually, while you're just shifting your weight. So knees come in and a little bit of gentle rocking here. And so the usual tradition for working with the Tibetan rites is that you start by doing an uneven number, so an odd number of each of them for every day for a week. So you might start with 3. You do each of them 3 times for a week, and then the next week you would do each of them 5 times, and then next week 7, and so on until you get to 21. And it can be a really grounding practice, and it certainly has been a very important part of my yogic journey. And whenever I'm feeling ungrounded or just unsettled, I found that the Tibetan rites have been a very important part of my taking care of myself. So let's keep the right knee in, extend this left leg along the floor, circle the right hip. And then let's bend the left leg, take this right ankle rather, over the left knee, lift this leg and find a little stretch here. Keyhole stretch or figure 4 stretch. Some people call this upside down pigeon. And we're dropping the shoulders down the back body. You can even have a little bit of, just a little bit of gentle pressure on the right knee. And I like a little bit of side rocking here. And then we'll switch legs. So we're straightening out through the right leg. Bring that left knee in. A little bit of gentle movement here with the left hip. Circling. Make sure you get both directions. And then bending the right leg. The left foot is engaged. Both hands find that right leg as we come into this keyhole stretch. A little bit of gentle rocking and maybe just a little push on that left knee. And from here, I invite you to explore for the next minute or so exactly what your body's needing before you settle into Shavasana. So just notice what the body is saying it needs before you land on your back for a few minutes. Taking all the time you need to notice. If you'd like to go right to Shavasana, I invite you to do so. wherever you are, if you're not in Shavasana yet, begin to make your way onto your back, settling into the body. Noticing any shifts that have happened for you. And taking this opportunity to allow the body to receive some new information. And imagine breathing in through the left foot, bringing that breath right up, all the way up to the tip of the nose, and then breathing out through the right foot. And then imagine breathing in through the left knee and breathing out through the right knee. Imagine breathing in through the left hip and breathing out through the right hip. Imagine breathing in through your left fingertips and breathing out through the right fingertips. Imagine breathing in through the crown of your head and breathing out through the soles of your feet. One day, people will touch and talk, perhaps easily. And loving will be as natural as breathing and warm as sunlight. And people will untie themselves as string is unknotted, unfold and yawn and stretch and spread their fingers, unfurl, uncurl, like seaweed returned to the sea. And work will be simple and swift like a seagull flying, and play will be as casual and quiet as a seagull settling. And the clocks will stop and no one will wonder or care or notice. And people will smile without reason, even in the winter, even in the rain.
And so very gently, take a few deep breaths. Begin to bring a little movement into your body. And as you're ready, your knees can come in for that final hug. And then drop over to a side, take a breath there. And eventually make your way up to a seated position. Dropping into the sits bones, lengthening up through the crown. And with the gaze softened or the eyes closed, let's inhale the arms up overhead. Palms come together and sink down in front of the heart. Take a moment here to think back to the intentions you set. And also to thank yourself for this practice. And we'll end our practice today with a single sound of Om after an inhale. Inhale. Namaste. Thank you so much.